the new marketing for your small business podcast. Delivering the latest opportunities in marketing to help your small business grow and prosper in a digital world.
Hello and welcome to the New Marketing for Your Small Business podcast. I'm your host, Luke Porter, the founder of Moving Tree Media, and today's episode is all about the current state of SEO, what it means for your business, especially if you're serving the Twin Cities market. So, first of all, super quick, what is SEO? If you're a small business owner who's heard the term thrown around, but you don't really know what it means, it stands for search engine optimization. And basically it means getting your business to show up at the top of Google search results, Google local listings for your services. So it's optimizing your website, your online presence. So like if you are a home remodeler in Minneapolis, people might not know who you are. So they're not going to just Google your business name. They're going to Google home remodeler Minneapolis. Where do you show up in Google search results for that? Are you on page 1 or are you on page 27? So obviously this matters because a lot of people are still using Google search or near me searches locally to find these type of services. So if your business isn't visible there, you are losing out. And SEO has changed a lot over the last 5 years and over the last 2 years because of AI. So if you kind of knew what you were doing 5 years ago, it is completely different now. So in this post, we're going to talk about what you need to do to stay ahead. Let's get into it. So there were some tricks with SEO that used to work years ago. Mass producing articles, keyword stuffing, having these articles that aren't even that readable, but just because it had so many great keywords in it, you would rank higher in Google. But the algorithm has gotten smart to this. This has changed, and these tactics that used to work are actually now liabilities. It's actually going to hurt your ranking. And part of this is due to AI. I think I mentioned this in the last episode, but as much as 70% of all content posted online now is AI generated. And these AI tools are very helpful, but Google's algorithm is also run by an AI, and it's gotten a lot smarter at detecting these mass-produced, low-value pieces of content that no one actually wants to read. These types of blog posts performed well 2 years ago, but now they simply do not. So if your strategy is relying on piling up these blog posts that were made by an AI, you're working against the current algorithm. So for businesses looking to rank higher on Google, the strategy has changed to a human-first content strategy. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about 3 core shifts that have happened to SEO because of this strategy. Here is the first big shift in this human-first AI strategy. Google can detect when a blog post was written by an AI. It doesn't matter if you're using ChatGPT or Perplexity or Notebook or any of the myriad of options out there for AI blog writers. Google's algorithm is very smart, and it knows that it was written by an AI. Actually, new research has found that stuff written by ChatGPT has a certain underlying pattern to it that can be detected. No matter what the topic is, just the pattern of how the words are used can be detected. And Google doesn't like that anymore. It wants blog posts that are written by a human. Your content should reflect you and how you serve your customers, your local understanding, your unique voice, your sense of humor, your stories, your neighborhood references. Now, keywords still matter. So if you are, to use the example from before, if you are a home builder in Minneapolis, you should still be using terms in your blog posts like Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities. These things should get interjected in there, but it should be natural. It should feel very real. And write it as if you were writing it for a friend, a family member, a neighbor. Write it like you're writing it to a real person, not to an AI. If a real person would actually enjoy reading your blog post, Google will give it more reach. The way that the Google algorithm is reading and analyzing these posts now is not just to see what keywords you're talking about. It's actually reading it to see, would a human enjoy reading this? Like actually get something out of this? Or is this just a bunch of fluff and nonsense, which is what most AI posts are? So can you still use AI to help you with the blog post? Sure. AI is amazing for research, for generating an outline, for looking up good local terms, for reviewing what you've written and making suggestions. But that final draft, it's got to be you. It's got to be written by you in your voice with your personality. And you might not even be the best writer. Maybe someone else on your team is. Maybe with a few tips from your favorite AI, you can improve your blog post, but really it's got to be written by you. This is what differentiates your content, and this is what Google wants to see right now. If you just use AI to poop out 50 generic blog posts, you're probably going to drop in your reach, and you're going to end up on that page 27 of Google search results, and no business wants that. The second core shift is that original images are what Google wants. Let me explain. So everyone listening has read a blog post before, and you know there's usually a big image at the top and a couple other images sprinkled throughout. Usually these are photos or graphics, but what Google really wants to see now is real photos just for that blog post. Photos you take with your phone, even if you're not a professional photographer. Pictures of your team working, your projects, your local office, your community events, your services. Using these real world photos add proof, it adds context, it adds trust, and that's what Google's looking for. If you only use stock photos in your blog post, it's going to hurt your reach. Your SEO score will drop. Now, as far as AI generated images, I know for a lot of you that can be really helpful for creating a representation of your services. And if it's something you can't capture with a real photo with your phone, an AI image would be the next best thing. Just make sure you refine it so that it's actually exactly what you want. Probably the first thing the AI spits out isn't going to be exactly what you need. Make sure it's unique. Make sure it ties specifically to your post. And make sure it's something you actually generated, not an AI image that you took from somewhere else. And now, without getting too technical, there's something on blog posts. It's called an alt tag. Some of you know what I'm talking about, but every image on your website has something called an alt tag. And what that is it's a description of the image. It started out as being helpful for people who couldn't see images, so a screen reader would tell those people what that image is. But over time, it's grown to be a key part of SEO, where Google uses that image description that you wrote to help rank that blog post higher in search results. So it's going to look different depending on what platform that you are in. But for example, if you're using WordPress, the most popular platform, when you upload an image, there is a box on the right side that says alt tag or image description. That's what you're looking for. That's where you want to write not just a quick description of the image, but also keywords related to what the blog post is about. So if you are a home remodeler who really is interested in green and environmentally friendly building materials, and that's what your post is about, when you name that image, you could name it something like environmentally friendly roofing shingle in the Twin Cities. There, you get those keywords in there, environmentally friendly roofing shingle Twin Cities. Google analyzes all of that to help figure out where to rank your post. So especially if you are not using real photos that are geolocated, if you're using some AI-generated images, you got to put that image description in. And speaking of photos that are tied to locations, this brings me to my next core shift. So part of how SEO has changed over the last few years is that local search is even more important. It was important 5 years ago. Now it is absolutely critical. And what Google's looking for is these local trust signals. These are things like community engagement, local reviews, linking your content to a local context. For example, local networking events you've been to, local community events, links to, if you're in the Twin Cities, links to Minnesota-based resources, client testimonials from real neighborhoods here in the Twin Cities. These local trust signals, those tell Google that you're not just a generic site. You're a local business with a real impact in the community. This is something that it's harder for AI to replicate, especially if you are providing local photos at these events. When you take a photo with your phone, it has a geolocation attached to it. So if you're at a conference at the Minneapolis Convention Center and you take a photo there and you put that in your blog post, Google can see the location of where that photo was taken, and that helps you rank higher in SEO. And no matter what the topic of your blog post is, anytime you can work in local stories, local landmarks, local context, throwing in city names, neighborhood names, local business names, Google cross-references all of these. The algorithm works so fast. Every single word you type in there, it's cross-referencing to see if you are a real person writing it. And these local contexts help so much. And this is probably a topic for another podcast, but if you're not doing community events, networking events, things like that, Chamber of Commerce events, you really should start, because not only is it great to be connected to your community, but those are amazing opportunities to not only meet people that could refer business to you, but to practice talking about your business. I meet a lot of business owners who have trouble giving me like a 30-second elevator pitch about their business. But going to those networking events and putting in the reps, man, that is great practice for fine-tuning what you want to say about your business to a new person. So now I'm going to give you 4 things to stop doing and 4 things to start doing. Here's what you should stop doing. Stop posting generic content just to stuff it with keywords. That doesn't work anymore. Stop relying only on AI-generated content without that human touch. You should be writing your posts. Stop using stock images on your blog posts. Google doesn't like it. Use real photos. And stop treating SEO as a one-time fix. You can't have someone come in and just do a one-time SEO optimization of your website and call it good. That's not what Google wants. It wants ongoing posts, ongoing content. Here's 4 things to start doing. Start writing content for real people. Write it as if you're writing to your neighbor, your friend, your coworker, with content that solves a real problem that that person has. Add value. Make it interesting. Next, share unique perspectives that only you, as a Twin Cities business owner, or wherever your business is, that only you can offer. Add those local terms, but in a natural way. And then collect, publish real photos and real stories about your business locally. Like I said, no stock photos. And the last thing, and again, this might be a topic for another podcast episode, but make sure your Google business profile is filled out with your services, the area you serve, the description of your business. Make sure all of that is correct and up to date. The bottom line with all of this is that Google's algorithm is smarter than ever. Things aren't like they were a year or 2 ago when a bunch of AI posts can get you ranking at the top of Google search results. Now, with all that said, I know this is not as fast as using AI. I know that this takes more time. But this is what builds trust. This is what builds long-term visibility. This is what gets the phone ringing and people coming in your door. AI definitely has its place in help speeding up operations and those repetitive tasks. But in this particular case, don't let it be your voice. Be your own voice. Thanks for listening to the New Marketing for Your Small Business podcast. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another business owner that this might help, who needs a fresh strategy. I'll see you next time.